So speaking of spending, of course, when we not spend as much and we have leftover money, we also have saving. So, uh, what comes into your mind, Sir, siguro when it like savings? And siguro if I may add as well, how much is your ideal budget when it comes to savings or proportion or if ever because it depends naman for each person and possibly if you have savings, where do you think will these savings go if ever?
Wow, okay, that's a parang a very loaded question, eh? But
Yes,
daming
sir.
aspects again. So, I'm trying to follow yung questions mo, but I think the first thing is, yeah, savings is very important, right? And I think a good rule of thumb, at least for myself, the past few years, has been to aim for at least 50% savings. And
50%. Wow, that's big.
it's big, yeah. 50% like net salary. So when I
Yeah,
earning after taxes, 50% of it goes to savings.
100%.
Um, and try to even aim for more, diba? But at least may always not carve out the element. Eh. So what I
Yeah.
would do is um, backwards yung calculation. Right? So when ito yung income, I will already start to think, okay, if I had carved out 50% of that, diba, into to savings, yung
Mm.
remaining 50% is, okay, how will I then like put a pie chart and split it into expenses? Is kung may
Yeah.
sobra pa doon, then again get to put it into
The
more
savings as well. Wow, that's
yeah,
very
we thought go about it, yeah. And you ask a question about where would you put it, right? If you
yes.
had
Where would you allocate these savings if ever? Would you just store them in a bank or would you invest them or
um I think ano siya, sobrang so both the percentage and this where you put it is very dependent on yung risk capacity mo as a person.
yeah. Yep.
Like super. Like I can't tell everyone a single formula, but
Yeah.
because the audience, diba, or like most of us naman dito will be young, uh, tendency is we can afford risk more and we can afford like riskier instruments, riskier investments instead, right?
Yes.
So kung may pera na I can afford to invest, I would look for ways na kahit konti lang yan. Let's say I'm able to save and put into investments maybe like 500 pesos a month, diba? Or like 1,000 pesos a month. What I would find are platforms or investment instruments that I can do yung tinging investment or like piecemeal investing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yung parang 200 peso, lahat variable fee, di ba? Wala yung 20 peso flat fee, di ba? Wala yung fee na I have to pay 50 pesos so and maubos yung pera ko through that, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
I'll find a platform that will just be variable fee and I can invest like 200, 50 peso, 500
Yeah.
peso para at least mapasok pa rin siya there. And I would go for investments na yun nga, more risky. Crypto could be one. Uh,
Yeah.
right? I will use a PDAX for crypto and our minimum investment is 50 pesos. May
Uh-huh.
shield. But even outside, even equities, I think there are some platforms naman na you can invest with even with a small amount.
Yes, sir. Well understood. Siguro, I agree. Although I was quite in shock with the 50%. I think that's very big, honestly. But it's quite believable as well. And I feel
Yeah,
like it also comes with like more savings that you have, especially at such a young age. I feel like you can take much more risks as well, and playing with much more risk it helps you learn more with like how you can use your money and your savings as well in the future. So thank you for
correct.
that insight.
And if I could add therein,
Yeah.
the parang when we live sa college, diba, yung living expenses at college are very minimal eh.
Yeah.
Like, maingat tayo mag-spend, diba? Sobrang minimal tayo mag-spend. Because our income is not so high then, obviously, kung
Yeah.
whoever it is, most of us, right? And so the moment we turn from like grad to first job, may windfall ka suddenly of this monthly amount na medyo
Yes. Yeah.
sizable compared to allowance, right?
Allowance. Yeah.
So I think the danger is when that happens, yung parang makain ka ng sistema, di ba?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going out, you eat around in all of the different places, you
Yes.
travel
Yes.
na
Yeah.
agad. So at that time, that moment na biglang you get that windfall of a monthly salary,
Income.
you're
Yeah.
don't forget to like start yung saving mechanism in your
Saving
head
mentality. Yeah.
bago mauna yung lifestyle mo umakit sobra.
I see. Very well understood. I feel like that's the importance of as well starting it early on in college as well. You're trying to build those habits as early as you can. Yeah, thank you so much for that as well, sir. Now, speaking of which, I think we've talked about like different strategies, and that's actually the next word. So, strategy. And for strategy, how can you siguro speaking of budgeting, how would you think how can you make budgeting for students easier, Sir Kyle?
Sure. So I guess yung strategy is being like street smart din at times. Like
Yeah.
something yung simple na mga alam niyo yung term na GPAC? Hindi na.
Back. I feel like it's quite a common pero hindi kasi ako so I'm not I'm going like that. So
No, but back then it's mga pakain basically. So that
grand pakain. Yeah.
Maraming mga pakain like this org, diba? Yung batch rep mo may pakain or yung alam mo may pakain here yung isang other org. Pag attend ka ng CAP event, diba, you get like a free lunch na. So that's a strategy potentially of saving more, right? You don't have to spend.
Yeah.
Potentially pwede mong a strategy din could be, alala ko before as a student, yung some of us move namin yung class namin na it'll start 1 p.m. lang, diba? Para we can eat lunch at home. Hindi na kailangan mag-lunch yung sa I guess you can balance, but you don't have to na rin at all if yung classes more afternoon classes only, diba? So that's how I think about strategy. It's outside what I said kanina na yung part 1 income, the part 2 expense, and part 3 is like calculation. I'd find ways to like street smartly game and lower my expenses and street smartly like increase my income right now. I think marami nga sa inyo gumagawa nun eh. Well, yung the pandemic 2020, 2021, ang dami ko nakilalang nag-internship, right? Like through the pandemic. But while studying at the same time doing an internship, I think people there would average like 8,000 to 15,000 pesos a month, diba?
Yeah.
From just getting an internship alongside studying. It's good.
It's quite helpful as well. So siguro if I may add as well when it comes to strategy, how can you strategize the budgeting given like for example given your current allowance, background, current needs as well? How can you start that as well, sir?
Sure. So yung thought ko there is parang at the very least kasi, diba, intuitively, you know na you're buhay ka pa naman eh. Right? So you're kind of doing, your lifestyle is actually going well for you, for most of us, diba? Like the past month, if you just think about how did I spend the past month, diba? Technically, every single of us has that innate budgeting in our heads. That's what I'm trying to get at. But what we'd want to do, I think what's very important, the next step, just that next step that's super important is don't let it just recite in your head, diba? Get a piece of paper, get a notebook, get an Excel sheet, and just structure and pen things down. That's very important. It's different if it's in your head lang, I know, I just, may rule of thumb ako, 50 peso every meal, every day, diba? I only eat 3 meals a day, and I can afford that, diba? Depende sa amount ng while ko, may innate plan ako na, okay, pwede ko pa mag-spend more, pwede mag-spend less, diba?
Yeah.
But if you put it into paper, you get to zoom out talaga and understand, diba? In a month, in 6 months. If I lower my expense in this manner, how much in 6 months can I earn further as savings, diba? So it helps you, when you zoom out more, it helps you like, it helps you understand what each small action that you may adjust may affect yung savings mo or yung spending habits mo, diba? And you can actually gamify or see the end, the potential goal, diba? Oh, shucks, if I lower my, here's an example, right? If I lower my meal budget from like 100 pesos to 80 pesos, diba? That's like 20 pesos over, let's say, like 60 meals a month, diba? That's 1,200 pesos. Over 6 months, I'm gonna earn 7,000 pesos more into savings.
Yeah.
So it helps you have that target that, oh, if I just do this diligently, conscientiously, may extra 7,000 pesos ako in 6 months. In
6 months,
after a year, I'll get like maybe 14,000-15,000 pesos extra, di ba? So parang there's that, you get to have that like prize, that goal in the mind that helps out if you
Mhm.
strategize very like on paper.
On paper, yeah. Putting things into paper really does make a difference.